It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for being with us today. You have found the intersection of conservative ideas and reality, where we are building a liberty machine. I want to welcome back to the program. We have Senator Dave Wallace is on the line. Dave, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic this morning. Now, I want to talk to you. I'm glad that you're on the show. I want to talk to you about your sovereign immunity bill, but I want to talk about the current news. The Gazette is reporting, Michael Wickline is reporting that your bill to change the statues that Arkansas gets to pick in Washington, D.C. failed yesterday. You wanted to replace the current statues with a statue of civil rights icon Daisy Gatson and Daisy Gatson Bates, and then Johnny Cash. I
Yes.
love the Johnny Cash pick, obviously.
Yes. We've got two statues, and the statues are of men that were in politics and in power back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. I remember seeing them in 1973 as a young lieutenant and thinking, who are those guys? And I bet everybody from Arkansas that goes through that hall wonders, who are those folks? So they're overdue to be changed out. I felt we had a good bill. I ran it twice. In the Senate committee, it's a little bit tougher to get things out because you have to have 5 of 8 votes as opposed to 11 of 20 in the House. I had 4. Just couldn't get that 5th vote 3 times.
And so what do you think that is? Like, well, I mean, because I know Senator Bart Hester, he has a bill he wants to file to try to do something similar.
Yes. He had 2 other individuals with him that really opposed Johnny Cash. They met with me privately and just told me they couldn't go with Johnny Cash.
Are you serious? Who do they want up there?
Yeah. The interesting thing is I couldn't get them to tell me. They just kept telling me that there were a lot of other good folks.
But Johnny Cash is a legend,
and
man.
you're right.
He's a legend. And, go ahead.
And my point was Johnny Cash represented the common man. He grew up like I did and like hundreds or tens of thousands of other folks in that Mississippi Delta, chopping cotton, picking cotton, watching the floods come and go. He personifies what we are in Poinsett County, in Craighead County, Mississippi County. And that's what we need to have represented.
Oh, well, it looks like, hang on a second. It looks like we lost him here. Let's see if we can't get him back on the line, because that was just too good here. So hang on a second, folks. Let me see if I can't get him raised back on the line real quick. And as soon as we do, hang on, just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, because I am actually in a foreign studio, and the foreign studio means that I don't necessarily know where everything is, but I am working on it right now. And this is what they tell you to never do in radio. But one second, let me see if I can't get him back. Hey, Dave, we're gonna get you back in the system. 1 second. And Dave, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Technology is an amazing thing, isn't it?
Hey, yeah, sorry, no problem. And you know what? That was actually my fault. So tell me, you were saying that Johnny Cash does represent, the average Arkansan over in Eastern Arkansas, but I mean, I honestly think he also represents the average Arkansan over in Western Arkansas. So why would we want a statue of him at the U.S. Capitol?
Every person from teenagers today back to my parents' time recognize and know Johnny Cash. We all know he's from Arkansas.
Wow.
I thought it was a great choice. I still do. I fought that battle and I lost it.
Well, you know what? And I know you're not going to bring the bill back up, but it'll be interesting to see who Senator Bart Hester wants instead of Johnny Cash. But let me just say this. One of the reasons I love Johnny Cash personally is honestly, it'll be 10 years in October that I started in radio. And learning to play, I know it sounds strange to people, and I could go into it a little bit more, but learning to play a few songs on the guitar, a few Johnny Cash songs on the guitar, actually convinced me that I needed to, because I had an offer to do radio, and I didn't want to do this. And it convinced me to go ahead and do it. And so that's just a personal thing and an affinity I have for Johnny Cash. But on the broader sense of things, here's a guy who went into the entertainment industry and it almost destroyed his life, much like we see this happen constantly with stars, where they go in and it destroys their life. They're controlled, they're used, and they never get out of it, and they destroyed your life. But they did not happen to Johnny Cash because of his Christian faith. He was able to go in. They attempted to manipulate him the way the industry does, and you can see it. And he got out, and so that's another personal. Like, he was able to persevere through all of that darkness, and that to me is such an encouraging story. His path is so encouraging because it wasn't a perfect one, but it was a one that was redeemed, and at least that's my 2 cents on that, Dave. I'll let you respond.
I agree with you, and that part of his Arkansas culture, growing up on a farm, working hard, that was all part of his foundation, plus his Christian faith that he had from the time, like we all have, from the time he was in the cradle.
Yeah.
And that foundation stayed with him.
Yeah.
And he had those temptations, and he fought off those demons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking with Dave Wallace. I wanted to get your take on that, and I appreciate you attempting to run the bill, or you running the bill, and even though it failed. So let's talk about, you have another idea, sovereign immunity. Arkansas Supreme Court last year interpreted the Constitution to say that the state of Arkansas cannot be a defendant in her courts, meaning you cannot sue the state of Arkansas if the government does something wrong to somebody. And a lot of people think this was a bad decision, but the fact of the matter is it is the precedent now. And so we have no recourse right now. So you have an idea to try to fix this to where the people of Arkansas would be able to sue the government again, right?
Exactly. Up until 2 years ago, we had that right. Our ancestors, going all the way back to 1874, had that right to sue our government. And the common man needs to be able to have recourse, because as much as we hate to say it, you are going to have bad apples in government. Mm-hmm. And they're individuals, and they will take advantage of their position in government, and they impose their will on the common man. And he doesn't have right now the ability to fight that. I've had large groups come to me and argue that they want to keep the law the way it is, and they will say we're just trying to avoid frivolous suits. And you know what, Paul? All of us out there want to avoid frivolous suits. And if we come up with a good tort reform bill that would meet the approval of people, and then all of us could benefit from avoiding frivolous lawsuits. But it's not right for a huge institution to be given a pass on frivolous lawsuits, or any lawsuit. Whereas the common man doesn't have that right.
What exactly are you getting? Any pushback from people that like this, the new status quo?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have support from your legislators or your fellow colleagues?
I think that it will be a tight vote, but I believe I've got the numbers to win that.
What are people's arguments for why the state should not be allowed to be sued?
Frivolous lawsuits, for one thing. The other, it just allows them to plan their legal cost a little bit better.
Okay, so they're saying the
But
predictability. Okay.
Yeah, but I gotta say, every small businessman out there would love to be able to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes away one of the rights that we have as a people of Arkansas.
Yeah.
A long time ago, we had kings and we had dukes that told us what we could do and what we couldn't do and how we can't sue them, and we didn't have recourse. And our ancestors solved that for us.
Yeah, they did. I really appreciate you taking this mantle up, Senator Dave Wallace, because it certainly is one that is worthwhile. The people need their rights back. That's what has happened. Is we were stripped of our rights last year, and it demands a legislative remedy. And every single one of them, every single legislator in Little Rock, all 135 of you should vote for this thing, because it is something that is necessary. We lost our freedoms. We lost our right last year because of this ruling, and it needs to be remedied. So I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I hope you keep us posted on it. Okay, Dave?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All righty. Senator Dave Wallace, everybody. I'll see you at the Capitol, sir.
Looking forward to seeing you, Paul.
All righty.
Be safe.
All righty. You too.